Week 5 of the new look Simulation Football League rolls on with a matchup of the two of the most interesting teams in the league in Season 21. The 11th all-time meeting between these two franchises. It's Queen City against Motor City on a Sunday evening in Detroit. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Simulation Football League live on YouTube. Alongside my friend Rochelle Colston with Joshua Doer, Declan O'Rourke on stats, and Cameron Irvine behind the scenes. I'm Tim Hackett, happy to have you with us. Thanks for joining us wherever you're joining us from. Rochelle, I feel like you can't tell the story of the new look SFL without these two teams this year. They're neither sensational. Motor City's 2-1, Queen City's 1-2, but they've both been at the top of the headline list pretty much all year for various reasons.
Yeah, I mean, both of these teams are built very, very differently now. So we have like 2 quarterbacks for MCB, 2 fullbacks, no running backs, 4 wide receivers, and 3 tight ends. On the other side, for QCC, we have 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, and only 1 tight end. So it should be a very interesting game.
I think that's really the best way to put it. I mean, I don't know really what to make of just about any team in the league through 4 weeks. Every team has played 3 games, some have played 4 to this point, Ray, and I feel like the jury is still out on everybody, especially for Queen City after they famously picked up their win in their last game. The season remains wide open for them as well.
And that's true, and what I expect to see at the end of the field is, I expect to see a lot of Jet Zero for QCC and a lot of passing from MCB. So let's see what happens here.
There's a lot. As some things change, some things stay the same, right? New era of SFL, but those 2 things remain true. Queen City kicks off on the road. Motor City receives here at home. 3rd straight home game here at Bank Michigan Stadium for the V8s, and they will start things off. I think it's fair to say, Rochelle, that Motor City is the most unique team in the SFL. You just mentioned it. On their roster, they have 2 quarterbacks, 2 fullbacks, 0 running backs, 4 wide receivers, 3 tight ends, 3 standouts on the offensive line. No team operates like Motor City does, regardless of era of SFL. And they're off to a 2-1 start, despite losing in their last game in Week 3, coming off of a bye last week. We got 2 rostered quarterbacks, and it'll be Michael Brown to throw the first pass of the day, and a nice link-up, a gain of about 7 for the V8s. Julian Gusters, who does not have a lot of targets this season for this team, makes the first catch of the evening.
Yep, and then Motor City, they definitely like their tight ends. I mean, they have 3 of them. So Mike Daggs should be really happy tonight. Throw it to the tight end. You might see that a lot.
And we've got a couple of wide receivers that are former tight ends as well. It's really no surprise how this team is built. Brown will hand it off. This is Christopher Dean, the more senior of the 2 tailbacks. Well, Bill Cherry has been in this league a lot longer, Rochelle, but Dean is the back that gets a little bit more of the work. They're nominally both fullbacks, and neither of them are necessarily explosive backs, but this team knows how to grind and they know how to air it out. Michael Brown is still the league leader in passing yards per game, better than 300 through 3 games. They will run it on 3rd and 2, and Christopher Dean has a first down. Sidestep, he's got a lot more. He's across midfield, another spin, and he's wrangled down at the 22-yard line. So much for no explosive plays. Christopher Dean inside the 25.
Is a commentator curse there, or commentator happiness? I'm not sure. But number 26 cornerback Terrence Pearson there with a touchdown-saving tackle. Basically, they just tracked him down.
Two contenders hustling after him, doing their best to try to get to him. And Oliver Ridge, defensive end, is finally one of the guys that gets to him for the Corsairs. I beg your pardon. I'm getting used to the new location myself. They spot him at the 31, not the 21, so take 10 yards off the run. But either way, still a great run for Dean. Now here's the other tailback, Bill Cherry, the longtime fullback, and he gets a gain of 8 before he's taken down by G.B. Wallace.
Well, MCB said, nope, we're not going to keep throwing the ball all night. We're actually going to run. So I'm a little bit shocked here.
This is completely counterintuitive to what they normally do. As a team through 3 weeks, 3 games, I should say, they had 51 total carries between Cherry and Dean, second last in the league, but also 7 rushing touchdowns on those 51 carries. Nearly 15% of their carries resulted touchdowns, which is a crazy number. On the ground almost exclusively to start. Brown will audible. There's Gusters, who has the only reception of the game so far, out to the top of your screen. Brown will hand it off. Dean First down again for the V8s.
Wow, they're having a really impressive run game on this opening drive, that's for sure, Tim.
And at this point in the season, I mean, every team knows what they're going to do. They're kind of famous, maybe even infamous for some of their game scripts at some point this season, but kind of counteractive to that so far. Brown will throw right on cue, and the pass is behind his target. That is Bill Cherry, who's already had a carry or two on the ground. Let's introduce you to the offense for Motor City and head coach Andrew O'Reilly. We mentioned two quarterbacks, Ibrahim Krieta, the holdover, and the newcomer Michael Brown. Bill Cherry, Christopher Dean are the fullbacks. Three tight ends, Azami Mahada, Julian Gusters, and Phil Koss. Everybody else after this snap. First failed play today for Motor City. They had gained yards on everyone prior. Brown to throw. Top of the screen. That's hauled in by Azami Mahada, the aforementioned tight end. One of the holdovers on this team. Has been in this franchise now for 3 seasons. The wide receivers, Johan Sutherland, Shane Kaufman, Noe Terrazas, and Guy Clausen. And on the offensive line, center John Smith, and tackles Bill McMillan and Phil McMillan. Brown under center again. Both Dean and Cherry behind him. They'll hand it off. First down,
Wow.
Cherry. Cherry checks outside, jumps, breaks a tackle, and scores! Another rushing touchdown for the high-flying passing offense of Motor City.
Wow, what a great run. He just knocked the blockers out of his way. He kept moving forward and reached the end zone. What a great play by Motor City. What a great drive.
7-yard run for Bill Cherry. And they ground and pound their way down the field, Rochelle, all broken open by a 38-yard run by Christopher Dean. 2 pass attempts by Michael Brown on the drive, the league leader in passing yards per game. So much for that. And they punctuated with a rushing touchdown by Cherry. Beg your pardon, yes, by Cherry, the team's 8th rushing touchdown of the season. This is their 4th game. PAT from Caleb Richards is up and good. And I mean, Rochelle, you've been a part of this league for a while. You're a league executive. You know how to scout and game plan. Bill Cherry showing us what that means to him. Gets his team on the board first. Teams change their game plan as much as the league allows them to, right? So how much of this do you think is a conscious choice from Motor City going in, or versus reacting perhaps to what they saw from Queen City?
Well, yeah, we can only change like 20 plays a week. In this new era, we can change as many as we want to. So you can change our whole playbook every week now.
Interesting. So it really, there's so many changes from just a couple of months ago to now in the Simulation Football League, and I dare say almost all of them are for the better. And I mean, Queen City knows a thing or two about change for the better. It has been a long time coming for them, and Turtles and Molasses and otherwise notwithstanding, they just outpaced Charleston last week, won their first game of the season and won their first game since season 19, won it going away, 44-24. Now they're looking to turn that win into a win streak. They'll start on the ground. Here's Jet Zero. We figured we would see a whole lot of him, Rochelle. He has been the bell cow for this team for 8 seasons now, and he gets a gain of 2 to start things off.
Well, Jet Zero is kind of unique. Not only is he a rusher, he's also he is their top receiver on this team.
They go to him a lot. Another thing that has not changed with all the other change across this league. Trellis Blanton looks to throw, and he throws an interception right into the hands of middle linebacker Matthew Halford. Brilliant start for Motor City.
Talk about being in the right place at the right time. I mean, I think it actually looked like he was actually throwing the ball that time.
Look at the route that Blanton takes. You're not going to see this in this replay, but he has to completely spin around in the pocket, under siege immediately, Rochelle, and just lofts it right, as you said, right into Halford's hands. It looked like he was the target.
Yeah, the receiver was on his route and he ran right behind him. He was just standing there waiting for the ball.
Going towards James Matthew Jr., their standout tight end. Instead, finding 5th season linebacker Matthew Halford for the takeaway. Man in motion. That's Guy Clausen, former tight end, now wide out for Motor City, who starts with the ball from the 34. Michael Brown will pass. Great protection. Cox fires. Right seam. First down and more. Inside the 20-yard line goes Phil Koss. We talked about the standout tight end for Queen City, James Matthew Jr. There's Motor City's answer. Phil Koss, one of the best in the biz.
He's definitely a player to watch. Him and Noah Tarazi are definitely high-impact players for this game on offense from MCB.
Quick work from our stat team. 17-yard gain for Phil Koss. We mentioned this team loves to pass. They have since their inception, really. Their starting targets have totaled 79 receptions. That's most in the league, including 37 to Noe Terrazas, the former Sioux Falls Sparrow tight end, now a wide receiver here on this team, leading the league in every receiving category through only 3 games. Motor City sends a man in motion again. Brown, quick drop, high throw, and dropped. Quick pressure immediately behind the target, and pressure applied by DJ Kilgannon, the linebacker, at second down.
Yeah, so now he's 2 for 4 on the day. They've only passed the ball 4 times, believe it or not.
It's just not what they normally do. This is one of the most pass-happy teams in the league, and hasn't mattered. We're very early on yet, obviously. Exactly 5 minutes expired, but hasn't mattered where they are on the field. They've run it consistently. See if that comes into play here. From the 18. Number 18. Throws low into double coverage and nearly threaded in. That was Koss on the target, but we've got a flag.
Oh, our first pass interference call of the day.
Wow. Against Queen City's Alex Marshall, standout rookie free safety. We'll get another look at it here, Ray.
No, it was definitely hit early there. That's a good call by the ref there.
You had Marshall, the free safety, come in from the back as cornerback Ted Haynes kind of wrapped up Phil Koss from the side. Could have gone either way if you ask me. That penalty will push Motor City inside the 10-yard line. They were just here a few minutes ago. They'll spread it out, and Brown will once again send a man in motion. Azami Mahada. Queen City spreads out to counter on 1st and goal. Brown, deep drop. Sees some pressure, now fires to the end zone. Knocked away. Only one target was there. That was Mahada, who had just gone in motion. Ended up over the middle of the pitch. But good coverage by Queen City.
Definitely. They had the end zone pretty much locked down. It's kind of a dangerous pass in the middle of all those defenders right there.
No question about it. Motor City will adapt the formation. First time we're seeing an I-form look from them. Once again, motion Mahada. Something we've seen from this team a lot this season. Brown under no hurry. Fires into the feet of his defender, but another flag comes in. Into the feet of his target, I should say. That's Julian Gusters. He was hit early, and another PI call against Queen City.
Yeah, Queen City's got to tighten up on their defense here. You can't keep giving Motor City first downs. Their offense is looking too strong today.
That was Greg Gaines, the number 2 corner on this team, on that one. Mark it at the spot of the foul, and another 1st and goal, this time from inside the 3. Now Queen City will pack the line. 6 guys with a hand in the turf. They'll hand it off to Dean. Dean sheds the tackle from Gaines and scores! Touchdown, Motor City!
Yep, you just gave Queen City way too much. They line up. I mean, Queen City had almost everybody in the box besides 3 players, and somehow still, Dean finds the end zone.
Well, Cherry had the first. Dean had the second. Rushing touchdown number 9 for those 2 gentlemen combined. And for, again, a team that is as pass-happy as it gets in the league, they march it down. They get 2 PIs, Rochelle. Not something we've seen a ton of in the history of this league, but 2 PIs on this drive give Motor City 2 separate 1st and goals, and they take full advantage.
Exactly. Now you're sitting there 14-0 in the first quarter.
Caleb Richards knocked. Go ahead, Ray. Sorry.
UCC's got an answer here, Tim.
No question about it. I mean, this was a Corsair team that was in control pretty much from the jump last week against Charleston, en route to a 20-point win. And Motor City with a week off after their first and heretofore only loss of the season. Deep kick from Richards. How about that? Don't see that very often these days. Tony Zoma has to, or beg your pardon, Adrian Ellis has to just take a knee in the end zone. Don't see that too often. But, I mean, look, Queen City finally got used to winning. We often misspeak in this league and say, well, last year they did this. Last year Queen City didn't win a game. That's not true. They didn't win a game last season. But you do have to go back to last year to find the time that Queen City last won a game, 2022. Now they're trying to make it 2 wins in a row. Trellis Blanton under duress, fires down the sideline, and it's out of the hands of James Matthew Jr. That has not been said very much in his career. He was open, Rochelle, just couldn't haul it in.
And he was open. There was nobody in front of him, Tim. If he'd have caught that pass, I think probably would have brought it back to the house.
Good find by Blanton, all things considered. Had to roll out to his right as well and then through to the left sideline. Nearly impossible throw to make. Very nearly made it. Split backs and 3 wides for Blanton on second down. They'll play it safer this time. Jet Zero runs into the body of one of his offensive linemen and is held to a gain of 5. Here is the Queen City offense for head coach Tom Welsh. Trellis Blanton, the quarterback. Tailbacks Jet Zero and Tony Zoma. Wide receivers Adrian Ellis, Doug Spelling, and Bob Wood. Tight ends James Matthew Jr. and Chase Matthews. And the offensive line is anchored by veteran guard Robert Crone, former first-round pick. Motor City shows blitz. Now they've got Blanton under siege, and his pass barely makes it past the line of scrimmage. Motor City sent a couple extra on third down, and they made Queen City pay.
And Motor City this season has 20 TFLs. I mean, they put a lot of pressure on the quarterback. They're rushing him. They're making him uncomfortable in the pocket. He barely got that one off as an incomplete pass. It should have been a sack.
No doubt about it. The first punt of the game. All V8 so far. Too early to say this team firing on all cylinders?
Looking pretty good to me so far, Tim.
No question about it. And a decent punt return there for Motor City as well. If you're new to the Simulation Football League, then welcome. The SFL is football for everyone. Get off the sideline and start your player today by joining our Discord server at simulationfl.net. Click the Join the Community button and begin your career, or just meet the stars of the SFL on and off the field. It's never too late to get involved. Motor City, as a franchise, only got involved a couple of seasons ago, obviously converting from St. Louis up here to Detroit. And it's been a bit of a rocky road for this team called the V8s. Never really been able to get their engines running, but off to a brilliant start here in Week 5. Christopher Dean with the carry. A short gain. Spot him after a gain of about 4.
And Tim, I mean, it's surprising me again. They're coming out and they're still running the ball. I like this offense.
Unofficially now 7 carries for Motor City. They barely had the ball. It just marched down the field, and that interception by Blanton leads to a quick 7. I'll run it again. Here's Dean. Runs right into Ted Haynes, and Haynes doesn't hold him down. Dean charges forward and gets the first.
I don't know about that one, Tim. I thought he was a little bit short. Let's see if we have a challenge.
I was stunned by that, too. I almost looked away. Here we go. See it again. And you can see that magic yellow-ish line at the sideline there, right? I mean, Haynes does what he needs to and meets him at the point of contact, but Dean just drives himself forward.
I think he rolled over the defender without touching the ground that time. That's what actually happened.
I'll give it to him. No review coming. Everything going Motor City's way so far. Dean tries to go to the top. Stiff arms out of a tackle, and Christopher Dean stiff arms another and gets out to the 25. What a run from Dean.
And where has Dean been all season? Wow, he's just lighting it up today.
Where's this been in his career? This is insane. He looks amazing.
No kidding.
DJ Kilgan and the rookie linebacker, absolutely no match. Pushed out officially at the 26 by Alex Marshall, so one rookie has to bail out the other. Kilgan couldn't make the stop. Marshall finally does. And Dean with now 76 rushing yards on 7 carries. Officially now 73.
The team who only averages like 58.3 rushing yards a game, too, Tim.
One of the weakest rushing teams in the league through 3 games. Brown steps up now. He's going to take off and run. He gets hogtied from behind by a blitzing corner, and Brown is still able to pick up 6 yards on the ground. This has been one of the biggest differences that I've seen in the new look SFL, Rochelle. Quarterbacks are a legitimate threat to run, and Brown has done that a couple of times this season.
And so going into the game, he ran the ball 4 times. This is his 5th run of the season.
Man, it's more than some quarterbacks had in a career in the last year of this league. Here's Dean. You don't need a quarterback to run when you're going to have Christopher Dean do this. It's going to be 1st and goal, Motor City again.
I'm just speechless, Tim. I mean, he had a wide open hole. He just kept running forward.
Straight down the chute. I mean, right down the center of the pitch, and nothing that anybody could do to stop him.
taking more than one person to tackle him, apparently, on the field.
No doubt. And honestly, he was tackled. He looked short of the 10-yard line, but he rolled through the defender. I didn't get a number on him. I think it was Ted Haynes. Rolled through him and over the 10-yard line, and that's where they spot him. Everything going their way. Here's Cherry, who had the first touchdown. Wrangled from behind by Chad Stinson, rookie linebacker. A nice start on this possession for Bill Cherry.
It's nice how they're, giving the ball to both their fullbacks. I mean, they're both threats at this moment. They both have a touchdown already in the game.
It's usually a team that likes to spread it out in the air, but now they've done the job on the ground as well. 2nd and goal from the 5. Queen City will pack the line. Will hand it off to Cherry, and good stop that time. Finished off by Kappa Jones, who's in his 2nd tour of duty with Queen City, a guy who's played all over the field defensively, now a linebacker in his 11th total season.
Now, if Queen City can come up with a big stop here and force a field goal, it'd be a big win for them at this point in the game.
Gotta find something here, you would think. Gotta throw out an oil slick to somehow stop these V8s from revving up. Brown will hand it off to Dean. Dean runs outside. Easy does it. That's 3 rushing touchdowns for the V8s in the first 9 minutes of the game. Dean has his 2nd.
And Tim, and Motor City's, wide open holes, bounces to the outside, basically untouched, great blocking up front. And QCC they're scoring quick. Their touchdowns come fast.
Let's check out the drive summary. They've had the ball for a total of, doing some quick math here, 22 plays. Rochelle, that's it for Motor City. 22 plays. And as Caleb Richards knocks in this PAT, 21 points on 22 plays in 9 minutes, less than that, of game time. This is crazy.
Their first drive they scored in 3 minutes. The second drive they scored in less than a minute. And this one wasn't, maybe like a minute or two itself. So they're not even eating the clock. They're just scoring like crazy.
And they're running the ball as well, which typically takes a little bit longer, right? It's for plays to develop, and it has not mattered. Queen City has had no answer. Adrian Ellis has had a decent day returning kicks. So can that spark Queen City to do something? There was a lot of talk last week, Rochelle, and deservedly so. This team looked great. Dispatched Charleston, which is not likely to be a bad team this year, but right on cue, there's what Adrian Ellis has done so far. Queen City looked great last year. Last week. Trellis Blanton looked good. Jet Zero looked fantastic. Best game of his season, and the first win for Queen City in a calendar year. Snapped a 15-game losing streak, kind of infamous now across the league. And now number 15, Trellis Blanton, the new quarterback for this team, trying to lead them to 2 wins in a row. It would make a mess of things in a very messy North Division already this year. Jet Zero gets absolutely nothing, plastered by Mike Balat.
Yep, but I think QCC has opened up their offense a little bit and depending on Zero because their rushing game is not working so far in this first quarter for them.
No question about it. Motor City has been up to the task to stop anything. These were 2 of the worst team defenses in the SFL in Season 20. Wouldn't know it from what Motor City has done so far. Queen City, meanwhile, defensively has had no answer. Blanton takes his time, trying to nurse something back into this game. Short drop, sidearm sling, wide open over the middle of the field. And another nice catch and run for Adrian Ellis. It's his first catch of the day, but he continues to be their best ball mover.
Yeah, 19-yard pass there. Got the other way from the Zero. They need to open up the playbook a little bit more and start doing more that's kind of in the middle of the field passing.
In fairness, that's Blanton's first reception to anybody. Went Matthews' way a couple of times. There was the 1 incompletion, the 1 drop, and the 1 pick. So, ignominious start for Trellis Blanton for sure. He spent his first 2 seasons as the QB for the Seattle Nemesis. Comes over here after John Lakeman departs and becomes the quarterback of the Charleston Predators, the team that Queen City beat last week. First down for the Corsairs. Blanton spins, fires, and threads it in somehow. What a pass and a great catch by Doug Spelling, the most senior member of this receiving corps.
I'm looking at Blanton's numbers, and believe it or not, he has 0 interceptions so far this season.
Now you make a good point. I failed to mention that earlier. Queen City had 0 giveaways through 3 games, which is stunning considering their record, right? 1-2, and that was the first giveaway of the season, that pick by Matthew Halford that set up Motor City's 2nd touchdown. They have since expanded it to a 3-touchdown lead. Blanton the give to Zero. Zero runs left tackle, breaks away. Zero still going, blows through a defender and stays in bounds. Zero gets inside the 10-yard line, pushed out at the 8. He looked dead to rights, Rochelle, but somehow Jet Zero makes it happen.
And I thought he had stepped out of bounds, but maybe not. It was definitely a good run by Zero there, just pushing defenders left and right out of his way and staying on, tiptoeing down on something like a little ballerina.
22-yard run, says our stats team. First and goal of the evening for Queen City. 13 seconds left in the period. Blanton under siege again. Hit as he throws. Lofts it. Touchdown. Third time's the charm. Blanton hits James Matthew Jr. and Queen City salvages something from this first quarter.
What a great route by Matthews there. I mean, he found himself in the end zone by himself, and what a great throw by Blanton.
We saw him go Matthews' way twice earlier on in this game. First time incompletion. Second time straight up drop by one of the best tight ends in recent league history. Third time is the charm. Matthew Jr. has been a mainstay for this franchise now in his 9th season with the team that drafted him. And he gets Queen City on the board absolutely wide open. Great drive from Blanton and company. PAT from Joe Garfield is up and good. And, well, it's just one drive, Rochelle, but seems that rumors of the Corsairs' demise were exaggerated by me, maybe, but great response.
Great response indeed, and we're back to a two-sport game, and hey, you got plenty of time left. We're still in the first quarter.
Again, these were two of the worst defenses statistically in the league a season ago. Short kick from Garfield. Returnable for Guy Clausen, and he gets as far as the 28. We'll see what Motor City can do on a standard drive, but first, here's Cameron Irvine with our first game break of the evening.
Thank you, Tim. Carolina's in winless Atlanta tonight, but it's all swarm early until Matt South hits Riley Quintero for the touchdown, and Carolina now on another drive, trying to make a similar comeback as Queen City. 17-7 Atlanta late in the first half. Back to you in Detroit.
Thanks so much, Kamish. Seems like two similar storylines brewing so far. Atlanta up 17-0 before Carolina scores, and Motor City up 21-0 here before Queen City scores. Final 5 seconds of this first quarter. Bill Cherry gets the give and stood up eventually. Slowed up initially by Brandon Ewing. And the first quarter ends with yet another run for the V8s. Their 15th team carry of the first quarter. 3 straight scoring drives, 3 straight rushing touchdowns, and the V8s are off and running. They lead Queen City 21-7. This is the Simulation Football League presented by APM Music, live on YouTube. As Colin Northrup likes to say, you're looking live at Bank Michigan Stadium, home of the Motor City V8s. Third straight home game for the team that is now based here in Detroit. All-time series between these two long-standing franchises tied at 5 apiece. The home team has won a lot. There's a fumble that's dropped on the carry by Bill Cherry, and I think Queen City's got to pick it up.
What a gift by Motor City to Queen City. Giving the ball right back after a touchdown drive session before.
Well, I'm double checking myself. Was it Shane Kaufman on the carry? It doesn't make sense. I've got him as number 19 on my roster. That's what that looked like. Either way, ball's out. Motor City's got, or Queen City, has it. And a lifeline thrown to the team called the Corsairs. Might be able to walk back from the plank if this keeps up. Blanton low throw, and Zero gets the pass behind the line and gets absolutely decked by Doug Howard.
And the defense read that one perfectly. Zero shot to the outside. The defender followed him and just met him as soon as he caught the ball.
Tell you about the Motor City defense after this play. Been stouts to start before that last drive from Blanton. This is about where Motor City started their drive, where they scored off of the interception by Matthew Halford. Can Queen City do the same after the fumble recovery? Blanton will swing it out. Zero with the catch with one hand, breaks away from a defender and gets pushed out of bounds after a gain of 9. Zero making something happen. Some things never change indeed for this franchise.
And if Mark Hoffman would have pushed him out of bounds, I think he'd have broken the tackle once again.
Looking to see if we've got any updates about that fumble recovery. Looks like it was credited to Joseph Sobolka on the force for Queen City. 3rd down and 4 for the Corsairs. Blanton has protection. Off his back foot, throws another pick. His 2nd interception of the first half. And back the other way goes King Rashid up the sideline. And thrown out of bounds eventually by Tony Zoma. Trellis Blanton didn't have any giveaways through 3 weeks. And through a quarter and change here tonight, he's thrown 2 picks.
I think he felt the pressure, and he just made a bad decision. I mean, the defender was right there watching his eyes the whole time and jumped the route.
That's not the first time we've seen Trellis Blanton attempt a throw like that in this first half, Rochelle. I mean, we saw him kind of honestly get bailed out because his previous throw ended up finding James Matthew Jr. He just failed to catch it. That time he was going for Matthew on a very similar type of play. Motor City had 3 defenders there. And ultimately snared by King Rashid, former Defensive Rookie of the Year in this league. He's been kind of quiet this season for Motor City. First throw is nearly ripped away by the Queen City defense. Instead, it's hauled in by Bill Cherry. That could have been picked right back.
Yeah, that was definitely a 50-50 ball. Bill Cherry showing his strength and just tugging the ball away from the defender.
Well, it looked more like a basketball play in the high post than a football catch at the 40-yard line. But hey, works for 6 either way for Bill Cherry. Kilgannon was wall over it defensively for Queen City. Look at this defensive formation. They'll hand it off. Oh, what a bruising run by Cherry. Wrestled down from behind by Greg Gaines. Bill Cherry lowers the boom.
Yeah, Dean and Cherry are looking tough. I mean, they're hitting the crap out of people and just knocking them down.
No doubt.
I mean, just get it out of my way.
It's a pit of misery, a Cherry pit of misery. They have absolutely dominated. Over 100 rushing yards here for the first 14 minutes of game time. And 3 rushing touchdowns. Brown will throw. Sidearm sling into coverage and nearly picked out of the hands of Kappa Jones, who has been a safety at times in his career. Again, a linebacker now, but not able to haul that one in at 2nd down.
Yeah, I think MTV's been kind of lucky so far on their errant passes just falling to the ground so far today.
No doubt. This team does not have a high completion percentage between Brown and Krieta. They throw it a lot, to some success, obviously. Much of that success came in one game, but when they throw it, they've had success this year, just not at a high hit rate. Brown runs into his own man as he drops back. Now fires over the middle, and Cherry makes the catch again. These running backs, these fullbacks really are doing everything.
In that time, he had literally all a day to throw the ball. The offensive line was doing such an awesome job. He sat in that pocket. He just looked for an open receiver, and he finally found Cherry right down the field for him.
You saw Mahata was open there literally between the hashes. Instead, he's able to hit Cherry on the hash. There are 2 targets right there, and on a team with more than half dozen standout pass catchers, 7 in total, 4 wides and 3 tight ends. I don't know if they've even left the bus yet. They need a bus. It's a home game. Here's Dean. He's been a bus of it in his own right, and he gets 4 before he's stopped by Kappa Jones.
And Kappa Jones has been all over the field tonight, Tim. He's just chasing down whoever has the ball.
Yeah, I've been a fan of his for a while. Again, he began his career with Queen City. He's played all over the fields. Back now his 3rd season in this iteration, 11th season total, and an all-star for this franchise a season ago. From the 10. They'll run it again. Cherry runs into a double team and gets a couple. 21 against 21. That's 2nd season safety Todd Rigsby on the stop.
Yeah, I mean, you have to double team these fullbacks because they're just running over people.
It's tough to know where it's going to come from next. This has been money territory for the Motor City so far, and Dean is able to get him a 1st down. Rigsby makes the stop. They only needed 1, and Dean gives Motor City 1st and goal yet again.
And for Tim, I mean, for the defense, there is no weak side because you have 2 fullbacks that you never know who's going to get the ball. You got to be ready on both sides of the field.
Motor City has scored every time they've gotten to this part of the field so far. Dean gets the give and runs right into the thick of the defense. Great stop that time by Queen City.
And that time the defense won the battle in the trenches, Tim. They come up with a big stop on the goal line.
Here's a look at Tom Welsh, head coach, general manager, part owner, do-it-all guy now for Queen City, who, of course, formerly was part of the St. Louis Gladiator franchise, the team that has now become the Motor City V8s. Second down and goal. Dean breaks out. No, not quite. Nearly escapes Alex Marshall, who turned heads with his performance last week against Charleston. Great stop on the line of scrimmage. It's third and goal.
Yeah, Alex Marshall definitely coming up big there. Good stop. I mean, they're literally 3 feet away from scoring.
Very young safety core. 2 sophomores and a freshman in the backfield for Queen City. They've all been involved on this drive. Third and goal. Here's the give again. Dean shimmies and scores. It's a hat trick for Christopher Dean. 4th rushing touchdown for Motor City. Vroom is right. They revving it up.
And Tim, I guess I'm really impressed. I mean, if you scouted MCV to throw the ball this week, you were dead wrong. They continue to pound the football down the field.
Let's spell it out a little bit, because this is one of the heaviest passing teams in the league. Again, a lot of that damage came in one game, kind of an infamous game at this point, as PAT is up and good yet again from Caleb Richards. But this game, Rochelle, Brown is 4 of 8, which again is not necessarily a surprise for this team. They don't have a high completion percentage despite the high pass attempts. But on the ground, they've rushed for over 130 yards on 21 carries and 4 rushing touchdowns. This has just been an absolute grinder, and in the nicest way possible. They have ground the Queen City rush defense into a pulp.
Definitely. I mean, on this last drive here, you've had 3 pass attempts. The rest were on the ground. And it wasn't like big, huge runs either. It was like, 9 yards, 5 yards, 4 yards. They're just finding a way to get it done.
Let's talk roster construction as well, because Queen City has a standout tailback in Jet Zero. There's no question about it. And he began his career as a fullback, and there were some times where he was honestly one of the worst running backs in terms of usage and in terms of success in the league. But then there was a time when he was one of the best running backs in the league in terms of both usage and success. So Queen City knows how to run the ball effectively as a franchise. Motor City does not have a running back like Jet Zero in that build, that style on their roster. They've got 2 fullbacks, and yet they have just been able to run the ball down the Corsairs' collective throats to amazing success. Trellis Blanton will throw. Jet Zero right on cue. Gets a gain of about 4, and Zero has really been Queen City's everyman so far this season.
And that time, there's Nicholas Warner there making a stop as soon as he catches the ball. He's not getting any yards after the catch, or very rarely getting any yards after the catch.
Yeah, great point. He's done his job. I mean, Zero has nearly 50 total yards of offense, but haven't seen a lot of else. Here's Zero. Nothing doing there. Give him maybe 1. Stopped again by Nicholas Warner, former linebacker, now a safety for this franchise, and unsurprisingly the team leader in tackles, as he almost always is.
Yeah, Motor City just keeping people in that box. They're looking for the run. They're looking for Jet Zero. They scouted for that, and they're doing a good job containing it.
Third down for Queen City. 2 in the backfield. Motor City showing blitz again. They will send a couple extra. Blanton sets, throws wide open over the middle. Doug Spelling with another catch for a first down. A dime from Blanton. Good catch for Spelling.
I think that time they got the defense a little off guard. Doug Spelling ran a great route. His quarterback's looking for him. He found him in the middle of the field. No defenders around him. Great catch.
Spelling was one of the best wide receivers the SFL had to offer in season 20. His 5th season in the league, made his first All-Star game. Has been somewhat quiet this season, but now 40 yards on 2 catches in this game tonight. That puts the Corsairs on the opponent 40. Looking back this way, catch quickly by Adrian Ellis. 3rd season with Queen City, 4th overall, and a short gain there, maybe 4.
Yeah, Rodney Panini was right there with him the whole entire time, and since he made the catch, a nice open field tackle.
And Queen City diversifying the offense a little bit. Blanton is 8 of his first 12, and he will throw again. Over the middle again, hauled in again, this time by James Matthew Jr. He had that drop early in the game, Rochelle, but since then he's been money.
And he's one of Blanton's favorite targets, him and Jet Zero, so look for him. His name to be called a lot here tonight.
One of the standouts at that position in this league, no question about it. Nice gain for him there, officially of 16. Just outside the red zone. Queen City not going away in this game. Mark of an improved franchise, you would think. Here's the run for Zero. And a short gain that time. Quickly, here is the the Motor City defense. On the line is Doug Howard with Dakota Butts, Nick Brummer, and Mike Balat. Linebackers Matthew Hulford and Rodney Panani. Cornerbacks Mark Kaufman, Terrence Pearson, and King Rashid. With safeties David Leathers, Nicholas Warner, and Kane Vasquez. A veteran group back there in contrast to what Queen City has. Man in motion, that's Spelling, who made that long catch earlier in this drive. 3 minutes left until halftime. Blanton the give to Zero, and Zero gets run into. Nice tackle by Rodney Panani.
And QCC seems to be sticking to their game plan. Run the ball, then throw the ball. They got to open it up a little bit more, I think, Tim. You're 21 points down.
Zero had a tremendous game last week. Helped Queen City defeat Charleston, snapping a 15-game losing streak. It's not really got off and running so far here. Blanton, deep drop, evades, fires, first down again for the Corsairs. Blanton buys his own time and hits Adrian Ellis. It's 1st and goal.
And the O-line seeming to hold for him right now. I mean, he's just standing in his pocket, looking down the field, and two receivers cross each other, and he found number 11 right in the middle. Adrian Ellis with a great catch.
I think you hit on it. I think that was actually a great route design by the coaches and by execution by the players. There was all those crosses underneath. That left a deeper cross, and Ellis wide open, and a nice link up to Ellis from Blanton. 1st and goal, Corsairs from the 6. Coming up in the 2-minute warning, they will snap it. Zero gets the give, breaks in, and is stopped at the 3-yard line. Another tackle by Panani as we hit the 2-minute warning. V8's rolling, the Corsairs trying to catch up in a matchup of two of the most interesting teams in the SFL. In Season 21, it's a 21-point lead for Motor City. This is the SFL presented by APM Music on YouTube. Jarlis Blanton and company have marched the Corsairs down the field, facing a 21-point hole, trying to break into it in the final 2 minutes of the first half. Here's the give to Jet Zero. Runs right into his lineman once again, Rochelle, and he doesn't have a lot of room to work with.
Yeah, those up-the-middle runs are not working for Zero tonight. Maybe he should start bouncing the ball a bit outside. Maybe dump it off to him on a little swing route, something different.
Something they do quite a bit. We've only seen it a couple of times in this game. That was Mike Balat on the stop on 2nd down. 3rd and goal. Crowd started to get loud. Critical game for both teams, you would feel. Zero runs into Mike Balat again. The middle of the Motor City defense holds firm, and it's 4th and goal.
You gotta take the field goal here. You need the points, but disappointing that you get into the 5-yard line, you can't score.
I'm with you, and that's been a huge difference in this game. Motor City is 4 of 4 in those situations in this game already. Queen City comes up empty here. Joe Garfield has been perfect through 3 weeks. This is as chippy of a chip shot as it gets. Very high snap, and Garfield's kick, no problem. He is 10 of 10 to start off his sophomore season here in the SFL.
But don't look now, you're giving the Motor City the ball back with 1 minute, and they've shown that they can score in 1 minute with 3 timeouts. So let's see what happens here.
And no kidding, but they've marched down the field in no time at all, as you pointed out so well earlier. But that's with a heavy ground game. You think, 1 minute drill, you're going to have to pass it all the time. We've seen Motor City very capable of passing it all the time, but in this game, they've marched down the field and scored quickly on almost exclusively runs.
Which is amazing to me.
It's almost unbelievable. Short return on a short kick, and Motor City's going to have to go 73 yards to get another touchdown. They've only been stopped once, and that was on that fumble. Cameron Irvine confirming this for us a few minutes ago, Rochelle. It was Shane Kaufman, who is nominally this team's #1 wide receiver, at least has been in the past. He was the one that carried the ball. He lined up in the backfield and got the carry, and it was forced by DJ Kilgannon and recovered by lineman Joseph Sabolka, who you see there at the bottom of your screen. The only time they have run it with somebody not named Cherry or Dean, things went haywire. So I think we know the game script. Just stick with those two guys, and good things have happened for Motor City.
Exactly, and think about these receivers that were once tight ends. These are huge bodies on the field. They're huge targets.
And
One of the quarterback.
And none of them have had the opportunity to do anything.
I know.
Something we haven't even talked about. Noe Terrazas, the #1 wide receiver in production, leads the league in catches, yards, and touchdowns. 4 scores through 3 weeks. He hasn't even been targeted because they've run the ball so much and run the ball so well. coming up on 150 rushing yards here in the first half.
I'm baffled.
Cherry gets the give, and he'll add to that total. Let's see how urgent Motor City gets. There have been no timeouts called by either team in this game. 20 seconds left. I think they're inclined to run the clock out, but with the way this offense is going, run the clock out might lead them right down the field.
Definitely, that's been their game plan so far.
Look at that. 9 for 51 for Cherry. Dean unofficially 14 for 97 and 3 touchdowns. They don't have to snap it again. Will Brown uncork one, as he has been wont to do. They will instead run it. That is Kaufman again with the carry. This time works a little bit better. He gets a gain of about 3. And that's the way to get this wideout crew involved, I guess. Shane Kaufman with his second carry of the evening. And that is how the first half will end. 4 straight scoring drives for Motor City. And they have opened up a 28-10 lead on the Corsairs. This is the SFL presented by APM Music, live on YouTube. And Rochelle Colston, look, we came into this game talking about these two teams kind of at other sides of their season spectrum, if you will. Motor City lost the most recent game it played. Queen City won the most recent game that it played, snapping that long losing streak, as we've already outlined. But so far today, all Motor City from the jump.
And they're doing it in ways that really surprises. I mean, I'm expecting to see this high flying, high passing offense, and they're playing ground and pound.
As a team, Motor City ran the ball 51 times. That's just counting the 2 tailbacks. Nothing that Michael Brown or maybe Ibrahim Krieta, the quarterbacks, have done. That was second fewest in the league. 51 carries through 3 games. And these 2 backs, Dean and Cherry, have run the ball 23 times combined in that first half. You throw in 2 runs by Kaufman and 1 run by Brown. 26 running attempts versus 8 pass attempts by Michael Brown. And you mentioned it earlier, Rochelle. I mean, teams can do whatever they want with their playbooks from week to week these days. And I'm not sure, maybe you can suss out, has it been something with the playbook, or has it just been opportunistic play calling by Motor City so far?
I know, it's definitely a playbook change. If you go from running the ball, or from throwing the ball around, you definitely changed your playbook a lot this week.
There was the game, famous or infamous, depending on who you ask, earlier this season where Michael Brown threw for 555 yards and 6 touchdowns. Tonight he has thrown 8 times, and Motor City still with an 18-point lead on Queen City as we start the second half. Alongside Rochelle Colston with Declan O'Rourke and Joshua Dirk, Chairman Irvine, I'm Tim Hackett. Happy to have you with us. 2 games in action right now here on the SFL YouTube. 2 more still to come. It's football of the Sunday night variety. We're in season 21 of the Simulation Football League. Charles Blanton with the give to Jet Zero to start off the second half. Zero gets a gain of about 6. We mentioned it. He was brilliant last week, helping Queen City knock off Charleston 44-24. 35 carries for 184 yards and 2 touchdowns. And he also led the team in receiving yards with 53. So over 200 total yards of offense for Zero, en route to a 20-point win for the Corsairs.
He's not having a bad game. He's averaging 4.4 yards a carry, and here we go.
That's going to go way up if this play holds. Across midfield he goes. Wrestled down by Rodney Panani. We're going to see a flag and a face mask. Against the defense? Yes. Incidental face mask against Motor City, Rochelle. So this run for Jet Zero will stand.
Yeah. Glad to see Jet Zero finally break one. He's been trying to go up the middle. He broke it to the outside that time and found a little bit of room.
He's been good so far tonight, like you said. Not been his fault by any means. They'll check it down to Tony Zoma. That's their other tailback. And Zoma gets a gain of about 3 before he's stopped by Nicholas Warner, another well-traveled guy. Tony Zoma played a couple of different positions in his career, now in his 9th total season in the SFL, second here for Queen City.
I mean, I think he went from, tight end to wide receiver, so now he's a halfback?
Yeah, I mean, versatility is the name of the game in this league, I guess, and he's certainly showing that. Spelling all open, all alone at the top of the screen now. Blanton will hand it off to Zero. Zero runs into traffic again and is taken down by Mark Kaufman, veteran cornerback, and that's a loss of 1 for Zero.
All right, good job there by the cornerback Mark Kaufman coming in on blitz and getting the 1 yard tackle for loss.
Been a balanced approach for Tom Welsh and company. 15 passes for Blanton, 13 runs for 0. Third down as the shadows creep in. Blanton's pass is dropped by a couple of different players and ultimately dropped by Kane Vasquez, the 12th season safety for Motor City. Rare mistake from Vasquez. It was Bob Wood, the rookie wideout, on the targets, and it's once again 4th down.
Lucky that wasn't intercepted. Him and just fell almost to the ground, so they're forced to punt here.
So again, for all their travails for Queen City, they didn't have a single giveaway through 3 weeks, which is pretty impressive. Another big thing, I've heard other people mention this too, Rochelle, something that is very different in the league these days. Fair catch called for and made inside the 15. Something very different in the league these days is that quarterbacks do not throw as many interceptions. And frankly, as I've been watching games and looking at box scores, they simply don't throw the ball as much at all. I mean, last week, in the Queen City Charleston game, Trellis Blanton threw the ball, I think, 22 times, which is, sometimes in the past you would have quarterbacks throw 22 times and a half. And that's what Blanton did in the entire game. So it's just kind of a paradigm shift for a lot of teams. Not every team, but so far that has been the exact script we've seen from Motor City. They've barely thrown it at all, and it's worked extremely well. Here's the biggest reason why.
Oh, no.
Christopher Dean shakes out of a hit. Free down the left sideline. One man to beat, and that man will stop him. A critical tackle by G.B. Wallace, who had a pick 6 last week, saves a touchdown this week, and a huge run for Christopher Dean. His career night continues.
Yeah, Tim, MCB's running the ball, but they're not running the ball with these high-powered running backs. They're using their fullbacks. I'm just amazed.
It's a 9 yards per carry clip for a fullback for Christopher Dean.
Usually your fullbacks come in, they get your 2 yards when you 3rd and 2. They do that power run, get your 2 yards. These fullbacks are showing they have speed.
I'm going to pull up his career stats in a little bit, Rochelle, because 135 yards is sometimes a full season for a fullback in this league. And that's what Dean has done tonight, trying to add to it. Gain of 5. Quickly, here is the the Queen City defense. The line is Oliver Ridge, Dan Dash, and Joseph Sabulka. Linebackers DJ Kilgannon, Kappa Jones, Claudius Periwinkle III, and Chad Stinson. Quarterbacks Brandon Ewing, Greg Gaines, Ted Haynes. Safeties Todd Rigsby, Alex Marshall, and G.B. Wallace, who made that stop on Dean a minute ago. Here's the carry. Cherry gets tripped up. Nice tackle there by Kappa Jones. And as you said, Ray, he's been all over the place.
Yeah, it's very seldom that even bringing these fullbacks down the line of scrimmage. It's very unusual tonight. At least they're making lots of positive yardage.
You mentioned it earlier. 0, very little yards after contact. It seems like that's been where Motor City has excelled. Not that time. Cherry gets maybe 1. And Brown now on 3rd down. Will fire it wide open. 1st down for Motor City. Phil Koss, standout tight end, as his 2nd catch.
And the Motor City V8's O-line, they're doing a phenomenal job out there, Tim. Just a great job.
There's no question about it in all phases, right? This is something you and I have seen Motor City in person a couple of times in this iteration of the franchise, and we've asked this question, other people have asked this question, what is this team going to look like? Because they have, I don't know the whole roster these days, the whole league construction, but they have about as unique of a roster as you can have in this league, and it's really anyone's guess what they're going to do, and so far Queen City's not been able to solve it. As Brown's throw swatted away. 2 Corsairs were there. He was going right back to Koss. Looks like Jones was in the area once again, and it's 2nd down, but I just have no idea what to expect from Motor City week in, week out, year in, year out. But look, if they win this game, they're going to match their last season's win total, and this is just game 4.
All right, if you tell me you field a team without a running back, I'd tell you were crazy, but they're doing it.
Exactly. They do crazy things. High throw, corralled. Nice link up that time from Michael Brown. Julian Guster's on the catch. And not a guy that has had a ton of work offensively this season, but he's been one of their most reliable targets. Their normal wide receiving crew, Kaufman, Clausen, Sutherland, and yes, Noe Terrazas, all of them without a target in this game.
I think they were all former tight ends, to be honest with you.
I think you're right. Brown will throw. Low throw, but caught at the 12-yard line by Mahada. He's been involved a little bit, too. This is what we thought we would see from Motor City when they started, Rochelle. Run it a lot, get the tight ends involved. It's not really what you would expect. They're not doing it the way that you would expect, but it's worked.
Great job there, but behind to get and get the ball and to hang on to it after he gets hit.
Who are we to question? Who am I to question? This is working. There's nothing to complain about here. This is just execution at the highest level. Here's Cherry.
Wow.
Throws another one into the pit of misery. It's Jones on the end of the hits. And Cherry with a gain of 6.
And that time, he just stayed behind his blocker. He just bounced it out to the outside and daylight in front. I mean, come on. That's a great play.
26 carries as a team. Look at Cherry's numbers right there. Our stats team has it 100% correct. Great job, guys. And close to 200 rushing yards now combined. Another snap from the 5, diving forward, and he scores! Bill Cherry! It's a full handful of rushing touchdowns for Motor City. Rev it up once again.
And you can't compliment that line enough. I mean, Tim, there was a hole. He ran through it. Nobody touched him. And the dive at the end was just icing on the cake.
I did not think that he did it on purpose, Rochelle, because it was more of a belly flop than a full-on dive extending to try to get the ball over the goal line. But look, I mean, this was in the nicest way possible. For Motor City tonight, it hasn't always been pretty, but man, has it worked. This has been as lethal of an offensive game plan as I have seen in the SFL here in season 21. And typically you say that with a quarterback that picks apart a defense and throws for 400 yards and 5 touchdowns and what have you, but that's not been the case. This has been just a dice-em-up job by Dean and by Cherry and by the offensive line. It's been brilliant.
And not only that, in previous games, they were using Michael Brown as their quarterback more heavily than Ibrahim. In this game, we've only seen Ibrahim on the field. We've only seen Creator.
It's weird because they have split time in 2 of the 3 games so far, and there was one of the games when it was only Brown. I figured this would be a conversation we can have later on. I don't know how you effectively split time with 2 quarterbacks. That was the first thing that jumped out to me this season for Motor City. They've always had all of the tight ends. They've always had a different approach to offense, but this season they have 2 quarterbacks, which is as unique as it gets. Queen City only has 1, and that quarterback, Blanton, really should have had a first down catch. Great defense, knocking the ball away from Doug Spelling.
Number 27 just demolished that poor receiver. That's King Rashid.
King Rashid, 2-time All-Star in his first 3 seasons in the league. And not necessarily a focal point of this defense this season, but you know he can get hot. Standouts in this league in the cornerback position. Second down for Blanton. Again under duress. His pass is caught by Adrian Ellis. Short gain there. Third down.
And QCC can't afford a third down here. A 3 and out.
It's just been a tough day at the office, to say the very least. We'll start whipping out more cliches, I'm sure, as we go, but it's been a slog for this team. Blanton feels the heat, whips it down the sideline looking for Matthew, and Matthew was tackled before the ball even got to him. Pass interference all the way.
Oh, definitely. I mean, that was blatant.
That's King Rashid, who we just talked about. Former Defensive Rookie of the Year in this league, is the top young defensive back. And I don't know, you can argue that pass wasn't catchable anyway, but Rashid with the tackle before the ball even got there.
Definitely. I'm not sure if it's catchable or not, but it was a blatant hit.
That, I think, is 4 pass interferences that we've seen. Those 3 pass interferences and a face mask that we've seen called in this game. You can go months without seeing 3 PIs in this league.
I mean, when it's that obvious, you have to call it, Tim.
I know Andy Hamilton's on the other game right now, but I'm sure he would agree with me. Well, fresh life for Queen City here near midfield. Blanton under duress again, fires and out of the hands of the receiver. That's Spelling on the near sideline, covered once again, this time by Mark Kaufman. Tight coverage again, Ray, but this time it's clean.
Definitely. I mean, you're just seeing the experience on the defense and defensive backs here from Motor City.
They're much more seasoned as a unit than Queen City is. There's no question about it. Blanton, sidearm sling right into the hands of the linebacker, and somehow it's picked off on its way down. Cain Vasquez, the safety, comes in and picks the ball up off the turf. That hit about 3 hands. Another thing, some things change, others stay the same, and Cain Vasquez, one of the all-time recent league greats, has another pick.
He tipped it to himself, it looked like, Tim. But that was a dangerous pass. I mean, there was too much coverage. I wish Blanton probably wants to take that one back, Tim.
Once again, Bears repeating. Queen City was 0 giveaways through 3 games. Pretty impressive, considering they lost 2 of those 3 games, especially, and Blanton has now thrown 3 picks. Motor City picked off 4 passes as a unit in their first 3 games. What a run. Cherry somehow makes that happen. Brandon Ewing makes the stop, gain of 3. Last week for Queen City, beg your pardon, they scored 44 points in their win against Charleston. They were 0-12 in season 20, including 2 losses to Motor City, but those 2 losses came by a combined 10 points, and Queen City scored exactly 17 points both times. So far today, Motor City's holding them below that, and this game hasn't been close since the end of the first quarter. Here's Dean. Biggest reason why, and Dean, I thought for sure he might be able to break that one, and they're going to say 3rd and 1. I thought he was shorter than that, but either way, it's going to be 3rd down.
And you'll see Dean or Harry here again, I'm sure.
There's no reason to go anywhere else at this point, don't you think?
No.
Christopher Dean had 150 rushing yards before today through 3 weeks. He's got 140 unofficially. We're not even through the 3rd quarter.
And Cherry is now a wide receiver.
He'll hand it off. Here's Dean. He's got 150 here tonight. First down, Motor City. They keep this line moving.
Well, you know, looking at their offense, Tim, you got the perfect setup for the run. You got a crap load of tight ends. You can put, 2 tight ends on the line. I mean, it's made to run.
And that's exactly, I distinctly remember you and I having this conversation other times that we've seen Motor City in person, because I'm with you. This roster formation is built for that, but you and I have seen Motor City air it out, and we know many other teams have seen them do that as well to great success. I mean, they have made Phil Koss a standout in this league. He was already good with St. Louis, but they turned him into one of the best pass catchers, period, a couple of seasons ago, as Cherry gets the give and gets about 5. And then what Guy Clausen did at times last season for Motor City was insane. And what Noe Terrazas has done through 3 weeks for this team this season has been insane. So they have made, and Shane Kaufman's a great receiver in his own right, and he's been here his whole career. So they have made pass catchers stand out. But I'm with you about the build of this team, and this appears to be the apex. I don't know how much better than this you can get. Case in point, another first down run for Cherry.
So, you basically have 6 people on the line at all times, and they're doing a great job of blocking and opening up the middle for their fullbacks.
Another give up the middle. Cherry with the carry. That sounds like a t-shirt waiting to happen. And a gain of 7 for Bill Cherry. He's always been one of those guys that can make a difference as a fullback in this league. Feed it to the fullback used to be something that former partner of mine would say. He would love this team. They are ground and pound to the max. At least tonight. Who knows what they'll do next week? Dean gets stopped up, maybe a gain of 1. That's probably the shortest run of the night. Todd Rigsby on the stop. Next up for Motor City, they're at Atlanta, home against Baltimore, and at Louisiana. And Rochelle, if this was season 17 or 18, I would say, man, that feels like a tough slog of opponents. But this season, who knows? This league is wide open so far this season, and that's awesome, frankly.
Basically, because you really can't scout a team. I mean, you can scout them, but you change their whole playbook. And what you scout, it may not happen.
I think Queen City's learning that the hard way right now. Here's Dean. Spins up the middle, and that'll be another 1st and goal for Motor City. They are 5 of 5 in these situations tonight. And Dean over 150 yards officially now. You see him there. 158, better than 8 yards per carry for a fullback with 3 scores. 35 seconds left in the 3rd.
This is a nice play. They have ran the ball 8 times. Make it 9.
And another touchdown. Make it 6 rushing touchdowns for this team. Dean's got 4 of them. And Motor City continues to roar.
9 plays, 50 yards, 9 run plays. Waiting for the time.
I mentioned this coming in, Rochelle. I didn't think this would really be anything more than just a neat nugget, but it is held true in this game. We've talked ad nauseum, and other teams have talked even more about how much Motor City has passed the ball at times this year, and we've already seen, obviously, the paradigm shift here tonight. Look at that, 50 yards in 3.5 minutes. I mentioned coming into this game, Rochelle, they had run the ball, just talking about the tailbacks, 51 times, second fewest in the league. But on those 51 carries, they had scored 7 rushing touchdowns. That's about 14% of their carries resulting in touchdowns. So they've been able to make it happen in tight, in red zone opportunities and the like. They go to their bruisers to make it happen 14% of the time. Tonight, they have run the ball just with their tailbacks 36 times, and they have scored 6 rushing touchdowns. 6 touchdowns on 36 carries. That's 17% of their carries that have resulted in touchdowns. And something that I thought would be a throwaway little nugget has really ended up being the story of this game. They're lethal. That's a high number. That's a crazy high number.
Definitely. And I mean, Tim, if you had told me this is what NCD would look like tonight, I'd tell you were crazy.
Figure this, if anything, this may be what Queen City would look like. There's a nice run for 0 and a gain of 8. We'll talk more about it in the fourth quarter, but nowadays you can change your playbook completely, like you said. So you could literally have 0 plays that you would run in 1 week that you would then run again the following week. Is that correct?
That's correct. You can change your whole entire playbook from the start.
You can't change. You go ahead. Sorry.
There's no rules. I mean, usually you used to be able to add 20 and take away 20 on offense, add 20 on defense, take away 20. Now there are no rules. As long as you have the minimum amount of plays in your playbook, it goes.
I'll snap it before the end of the quarter, and 0 high steps and gets a first down. That's more like it for Jet 0. 75 rushing yards for him in the 3 quarters. But Motor City is rolling. 42-10 your score after 3 quarters. This is the SFL presented by APM Music on YouTube.
The Simulation Football League is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast, retransmission, or account of the game without the express written consent of the league office is prohibited.
Welcome back to Bank Michigan Stadium alongside my friend Rochelle Colson with Declan O'Rourke and Joshua Durr doing bang-up work in the stat truck. Thank you both. And Cameron Irvine working hard behind the scenes. I'm Tim Hackett coming to you live from Detroit. Our first game of the season, Rochelle, together. And look, like you said, if anybody had told us this is what Motor City was going to look like, you may have predicted the final score, perhaps, if you're a Motor City fan, but the way that they have gotten to this scoreline right now is absolutely baffling to me, and they have looked great while doing it. First down for Jet 0. Lowers the shoulder. Nice gain right out to the midfield line.
And now I think QCC finally has Jet 0 going a little bit. He's actually getting positive yardage here. See what he can do. I mean, you are 32 points behind, but the whole quarter left.
He's averaging 5 yards per carry and is on the precipice of 100 total yards. So he's had a nice day. But really, I mean, where else has it come from Queen City? Here's 0. And I stop him just short of the first down line, 3rd and inches.
Yeah, basically, like, QCC has put the game on Jet 0's back, and it was kind of rough for him the first 2 quarters.
And that has been par for the course for this franchise in the last few seasons. Again, he has been their bell cow. There was a time where Jet 0 was one of the best running backs by any means, and then they turned him into Jet Hero, one of the best players regardless of position on offense in this league as he gets the first down. Postseason award contender, and again, one of the best overall offensive players for a couple of seasons for Queen City, but his franchise has fallen on hard times over the last couple of seasons. That long winless streak is proof positive of that, but finally getting back on the right track, you would think, last week with a handy win over Charleston, but getting handed it to him right now by Motor City the other direction.
The problem here is, Tim, you're down 32 points. You have 8 minutes and 40 seconds left. And you're still trying to run the ball.
Blanton will throw. Down the right seam, looking for Matthew Jr. and swatted away. 3 V8s there on defense. They just seem to fill the field, Rochelle. I mean, it's been an impressive performance. I don't know what else to say.
That time number 44 was just, playing his little zone there with the receiver and just knocked the ball away.
Nicholas Warner. Man, I was a big fan of his for a while, even back in the St. Louis days when he was a linebacker. He's moved back to safety and has not lost his ability to hit. Talented player. Blanton fires one-handed catch. Are you kidding me? What a snag by Adrian Ellis.
Man, a one-handed catch, and he was in pretty decent coverage on him, too. He just came down with the ball. Wow, that hit the end.
Oh, man. I didn't know if we would have the opportunity to get this one in, Rochelle, but here we go. That's the nice hands catch brought to you by Retroid. Put a Retroid handheld in your hands and play the only video game with your player in it. SFL 4K23. Well done, Adrian Ellis. A total of 20 completions by these two quarterbacks. That's why I wasn't sure if we'd get that one in, but congratulations.
You're definitely not a catch if all you're doing is running the ball.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to change that read going forward. Unless Motor City just changes the playbook again, which they're wont to do. Here's a catch by Zero, and Zero shakes out of it. Gain of 4. Let's go to Chairman Irvine in the studio for a game break.
Thank you, Tim. I didn't even have a chance to update the score because this was too exciting to hold any longer. 30-21, Atlanta up by 9. Carolina fakes the field goal and hits Xavier Solomon for the touchdown. It's 30-28 with 2:40 left. Back to you in Detroit.
What is right? And right on cue, down goes Trellis Blanton. First sack of the day for either team. Mike Balot has had a big day in the middle of the Motor City defense. And that big day continues. It's all V8s here in Detroit.
That would be his first sack of the season, Tim.
Look at that day. 3 TFLs, including a sack for a defensive tackle. Not bad for a team that's only passed the ball 24 times. 3rd and 12. This is the longest third down for either team, by the way.
That's interesting.
Blanton, very deep drop. Into the right seam and swatted away again. First target for Jet Zero, who is out in Doug Spelling territory. And he very nearly was able to haul that in, Rochelle. But once again, a trio of V8s were there. Felt like there were V8s.
These DBs have been all over the field. They're swarming to the ball. They're always around the defenders. It's amazing.
Team stats for Queen City, not pretty. And a short punt. That hit, wow. Talk about a corner punt. And the fair catch was called for, and then the returner started to move on it. There's a lot of stuff on that punt that we don't see very often for good reason, Rochelle. That was interesting. But look,
what you call a fair catch, you had to fair catch it.
That's the idea. Now you can kind of dummy it and then start to run forward if you don't actually fully signal, but that's not necessarily the right way to go about it. But hey, very nearly a fumble on that punt return, just like we thought. They'll run it. Here's Bill Cherry. Shakes out of a tackle. Down the sideline he goes. Bill Cherry out of acceleration, but still gets across the 45-yard line. Motor City nearly botched this drive with that punt return, and Bill Cherry's going to salvage it. He's over 100 rushing yards.
These two fullbacks have to be tired. I mean, they have ran the ball so many times today and ran the ball a long way.
Through 3 weeks, Bill Cherry and Christopher Dean combined for 253 rushing yards and 7 touchdowns. Tonight, unofficially, they have combined for 275 rushing yards and 6 touchdowns. They have been insane. Dean adds a couple to it. Looked like he got 3. They'll mark him as a gain of 1. Brandon Ewing, off-season pickup from the London Knights on the stop. It's just been insane what they've been able to do, and it's unfortunate for Queen City. They've had 0 answer to this run game.
I mean, usually it's a good game if one of your running backs has 7.5 yards to carry. Dean has 7.9 average, and Cherry has 6.5. I mean, they're both having spectacular averages here tonight.
I'm going to do some quick math because That's now 39 carries. I
Yep.
mean, and it's about 280 rushing yards on 39 carries. As a team, they're averaging better than 7 yards per carry.
Right.
That's insane. Here's Dean again,
There's
adding to it. More than that, down to the 31-yard line. It is a career day for Christopher Dean, close to 180 rushing yards, and the faces on the Queen City bench say it all.
I mean, you have to credit that line of Motor City. I mean, there's no stopping them because of their blocking.
Motor City's offense has been in a groove all season, but it's not looked like this. Not in this method, not in this manner, not in this mode. But right on cue, they are doing exactly what they have done in terms of results all season. Preemptive stiff arm there for Dean. Looks like he was going for the sideline. Not quite able to get to it, but he does get 8. Motor City has scored 42 points in this game. That is their season average, 41.7 points per game. Third best in the league through 3 games. 45 points, then 56 points, and then crashed back to earth last time out against Canton, scoring just 24 in their only loss of the season, but hitting their season average in points yet again, their third time this season, 40 points or more, and again, completely differently than how they did it either of the first 2 times. A mark of a good team and certainly of a good coaching staff in this league, you would think.
And now you have number 21 as a receiver.
4:20 left in regulation. Brown will hand it off to Dean. Up the gut he goes, and Christopher Dean to the 12-yard line. Another big run. He's close to 200 rushing yards.
I mean, if you're the defense here, you have to know what's coming. You have to know they're going to run the ball. You need to put more people in the box. I don't know what to tell them anymore.
We haven't called any of the linebackers' names besides Kappa Jones much at all. Claudius Periwinkle, Chad Stinson, officially Dean over 200 rushing yards. I can safely say it's the first time in his career that's happened. He has been stellar. And not Chuck Stellar, the fullback for the DC Dragons. From the 12-yard line, Motor City has made its money all day on this. No need for Michael Brown to rush. Will we see Ibrahim Krieta in this game? We haven't seen him yet. Cherry, maybe a gain of 1. There was that one game, Rochelle, where Brown played the entire game and set the league on fire. Every other game, Krieta and Brown have pretty much split. It's not been an even split, but they've both seen serious action. It's not like one has played one drive and that's it. They've both seen serious action in the other 2 games. So far today, it's all Brown, but he's only thrown 79 passing yards. It's a far cry from 555, and Motor City's still going to win by multiple possessions.
I mean, they're lined up once again. I mean, look how the tight ends on the field, Tim.
I can't wait to see what Motor City does next. I literally have no idea what they're going to do against Atlanta, but they've got to be scratching their heads too. They're not right now. They're still playing. Dean. And he gets to the 5-yard line. Another stellar run from Dean. It's got to be demoralizing for Queen City. Look, you and I know a thing or two about having tough seasons, and Queen City's had a few of them in a row. And finally, some life, some happiness, some true positive signs for this team, and a great win last week against Charleston. Got to be excited to come in here with the potential to knot up your division. If Queen City were to win today, all 3 teams, and there's only 3 in the North Division this season, they all would have been 2-2. But instead, Queen City is going to fall back to earth. The V8s continue to accelerate. They're going to accelerate all the way into first place in the division in about 2 minutes. From the 4-yard line, Cherry sachets, breaks a tackle. He scores again. 7 rushing touchdowns for Motor City. Number 3 for Bill Cherry. And the V8s have arrived in season 21.
And that time, QCC loaded the box against the 6-0 line, booming tight ends. And somehow, they find a hole. He sneaks through that line, and it's pay dirt. I mean, I don't know what else to say.
What's interesting, and I looked this up earlier. I mentioned the one random nugget that I found that we did get to use, which I didn't expect we would. We're not going to be able to get to use my other nugget about Queen City scoring 44 points last week because they were only stuck on 10 once again. But what's interesting about the history of these two teams, the all-time series is tied at 5 apiece. That includes back when Motor City was known as the St. Louis Gladiators, all the way back to season 8, the first time these two teams matched up. The two biggest wins, the two highest scoring wins at least, in Queen City history have come against this franchise. They scored 62 points in a win in season 11 and 55 points in a win in season 8, the first year these two teams matched up. Those were the two most points that the Queen City franchise has ever scored in a game. This is the second most points that Motor City's franchise has ever scored in a game. And it's come against the other way, destroying their long-standing rivals.
It's not over yet.
No, it's not. Doug Spelling looking to go the other way, streaking down the sideline, more of a gallop down the sideline, and one of the best wide receivers in the league has had a nice day. He's now had 3 catches. All of them have gone for 20-plus yards.
Trying to see if the backups are in for Motor City on defense.
There's a look at Spelling. 75 yards on 3 catches. Still Blanton in for the Corsairs. Up the sideline he goes. That's been a play that Queen City has run a ton, Rochelle. I'm no coach. There's a reason I'm not in this league, but even I can see that the Corsairs have run that play a lot.
And the MCBHs have defended it very well. They were definitely scouted that play for sure.
No question. Just about every time Motor City has defended that play. It's only worked a couple of times. James Matthew Jr. has Queen City's only touchdown, and that came early on in this game. Blanton looking for Spelling, tries to high point it, gets hits at the point of contact, and we'll see another flag.
Another pass interference. And there was
great.
4 defenders there, Tim. There was 4.
I mean, look, we've sung Motor City's praises, and we should. They've been outstanding in this game. But to your point, what's the excuse there? You got 4 defenders. There's no reason to commit PI.
And, I mean, they should be in prevent defense at this point. And I mean, you have a 39-point lead with 2 minutes left.
Yeah, it seems kind of unnecessary from Nicholas Warner, but hey, and there's been very little wrong done by Motor City. PIs from both teams, something to clean up. It is still early in a brand new game for this league, so a lot still to learn, to be sure. Weird throw from Bland, corralled by Zero, and then Zero gets stuck at the end of the run by Kane Vasquez. 2-minute warning in regulation time. All-time series tied at 5 apiece. Motor City looking to take back possession of that all-time series. The home team is 7-3 all-time in this series, and less than 2 minutes now from moving to 8-3. One of the most lopsided wins in Motor City franchise history unfurling in front of our eyes. See if Queen City can try to stunt that. Blanton's throw. Whoa, nice catch by James Matthew Jr. inside the 20-yard line. Quick timeout is called, and with that timeout, we're going to go to Cameron Irvine in the studio for a game break. Take it away, Commish.
Carolina did not lead the entire game, but they got a defensive stop, a fake field goal touchdown, and a Malone Brown 22-yard field goal to stun Atlanta. 31-30, your final. Back to you, Tim.
Wow is right. Carolina's been really solid this season. They play both of these teams already. Differing results. Low throw, snagged by Zero at the 11-yard line. And Atlanta, another timeout, by the way. It's just like this. They're treating this game like it's that game, Rochelle. Atlanta, look, they're still winless now, and that's who Motor City has next. And, I mean, you dare say it, Motor City's going to be your favorite team in that matchup.
Yeah, I'm surprised by Atlanta this season. Never would have thought that.
No, absolutely not. I don't think there's anybody that would have thought that. And Motor City, only 3 wins last season, 4 wins the season prior. And this is about as good as this iteration of the offense has looked. Trellis Blanton feels the heat, fires towards the end zone. Too high, looking for Matthew Jr. That was the play they scored their touchdown on, Ray, and Matthew got hit for his trouble. Or I beg your pardon, that's Spelling on the target. My mistake.
I'd rather see that than another interception in the end zone, Tim, so glad he kind of overthrew that ball.
No kidding. And I was spelling. His number was covered up by the defender that was pile driving him as the pass was coming in. Could have been called there as well, if you ask me. Sure, Queen City thinking the same thing. Here comes Spelling in motion. Finally, somebody goes to mark him from the 11-yard line. Blanton sets towards the end zone again. That time it's caught, and that time it is James Matthew Jr. His second touchdown of the night, and Queen City back on the board.
Ow. He paid for that touchdown play at the end, though. He was hit.
That was a stellar catch, all things considered. 16 yards on the catch for James Matthew Jr. That was a nice play, and you mentioned it. I mean, he had to wear it for his efforts, but great catch by one of the league's best. Had a receiving touchdown last week against Charleston. He's got 2 tonight. And Queen City snaps that long scoring stretch by Motor City to make this a little bit more palatable.
If you take that over for tonight, you're definitely happy. MCB almost got it by themselves.
No kidding. As we mentioned at the end of the first half, they might have time to do it anyway. Well, they'll go onside kick here. What a snag on the onside kick. Wow, how about that? I don't see that very often. What a snag by Johan Sutherland, the rookie wide receiver, Rochelle. That's the first time the ball has been in his hands this entire game, and he makes it count.
Well, the receivers haven't had very much to talk about tonight, Tim. It's all been on the ground and pound tonight, so...
They've had absolutely nothing to talk about. Kaufman has carried the ball twice, and one of those was a fumble. Everybody else has not been in the mix at all. Kaufman, Clausen, Sutherland, and Terrazas, the league leader in receiving yards and receiving touchdowns, 541 yards and 4 touchdowns. None of them have a target. And Motor City is still a point away from a half century, and they're up by 30+ on their long-standing rivals and division rivals here. Motor City is going to move to first in the North, despite that loss last time out against Canton. Here's a run for Dean. Stellar day for Christopher Dean. Timeout called in. That's to be the final timeout for Queen City. Look, I mean, no disrespect, Rochelle, but this is, just to put it in context, in seasons where Christopher Dean has been the fullback for this franchise, 214 yards is a season total for him, and not just for him, but for a lot of fullbacks in this league, just based on usage and how the game works. He's got 214 rushing yards tonight alone. He has been sensational.
Definitely, Tim. I mean, I don't even know what to say anymore. MCB shocked me tonight for sure.
And now, what do you think they'll do against Atlanta? They're not watching their game right now. It just ended. You just saw that update from Cameron Irvine against Carolina, a team that both of these two teams have already played this year. So there'll be plenty of game film for everybody to watch. But with Atlanta on tap next, who knows what to expect for Motor City?
No, I mean, if I was Motor City, you have the perfect, like I said, you have the perfect set to keep running the ball. I would just keep running. It's effective. It works. You have plenty of blocking up front.
More knees coming for Michael Brown. It will be 4th down. That's going to technically be a 3rd down failure for Motor City. They have not had many of those. Look, I knew I was onto something. They're 11 of 12 on 3rd downs in this game. And I'm not sure if that one just there has already been factored into the metrics. They have been perfect on red zone opportunities. They've been perfect on 3rd downs. This is their first punt. It's not even necessary, but they will have to snap it. This has been as picture perfect of a script, game plan, and execution that an offensive coordinator can ever want to have.
You said it, Tim. You can't do much better than that. You can't ask for more than that.
And all of the talk from a couple of weeks ago about, how the game went, and the final results and how they got to it and the fallout, from that game for Motor City, less said the better in a lot of facets. They've not done anything like that. And there's literally nothing to complain about from either side. This has just been a decimation. Poor Queen City finally thought they had something together, and it's going to be back to the drawing board for them as that pass from Blanton sails out of the hands of Doug Spelling, who's frustrated. Up next for Queen City, they'll be at Louisiana, home against DC, and then a weird setup, a home and home at Canton and then against Canton. It's like professional hockey or professional baseball or something where you got a home and home series. But I can't wait to see that. In this North Division, it's going to run through Detroit now with London out of the mix this season. Motor City is first in the division despite that loss to Canton. Blanton is going to heave it down towards midfield. It is caught by Doug Spelling, and that is how this game will end. Christopher Dean and Bill Cherry combined for 7 rushing touchdowns, a decimation of the Queen City defense, and Motor City improves to 3-1 with one of the best team rushing performances that you will ever see.
Definitely, Tim. I mean, I'm still in shock. The score that basically tells the whole story. It was all Motor City all night long.
There's your rushing yards. Cameron Irvine right in line with us as always. 350 nearly for Motor City, under 100 for Queen City. 7 of 7 in the red zone for Motor City. They were nearly perfect on third downs, only punted it once. There was a giveaway on the run by Shane Kaufman, and then all of those turnovers. 3 picks thrown by Trellis Blanton. He didn't have any through the first 3 games. Motor City scored 21 points off of those turnovers. And really, look, 21-7 after that touchdown from James Matthew Jr. From then, it was all Motor City.
Absolutely. And Jet Zero never got started tonight. He didn't have any huge runs for QCC, and they stuck to their ground game. It just wasn't happening tonight.
This will be a hot take-inducing question, I guess, Ray, but we have now seen all different facets of this Motor City team, and especially considering what's happened, this almost feels like a prove-it game from them. They're showing everybody, us very much included, that they can win in multiple different ways. They have now scored 40 or more points 3 times this season. They've won all 3 of those games, top 3 in the league in points per game, and the team that led the league in passing yards per game rushes for over 400 yards and runs, of 350 yards. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. 350 rushing yards for a team that averages 360 passing yards per game, and they quite literally run away with this one.
And give their defense credit. They held QCC to 17 points tonight.
Exactly how many points they scored in 2 losses against Motor City a season ago. That's going to wrap it up for us here at Bank Michigan Stadium. Huge thanks to our statisticians, Declan O'Rourke and Joshua Durr. You guys were sensational. Cameron Irvine behind the scenes. Glad to be back for another season alongside my friend Rochelle Colston. I've been Tim Hackett. Once again, your final. Motor City all over Queen City, 49-17. 2 more games coming your way tonight. We'll see you next time. Until then, so long.
Good night, everybody.